Hey everyone, it's Karen at Worldschooling Central, and welcome back to Worldschooling Central Spotlight, where I introduce you to experienced worldschooling families and have them share their experience with you. In today's episode, I want to introduce you to Elly McGuinness. Mother of two and a fitness professional, she and her husband decided to embrace a failed family business and turn it into an incredible opportunity for an amazing lifestyle. Watch this to find out more. Meet the McGuinness family, a worldschooling family from New Zealand who said goodbye to their home in 2017 with a one-way ticket and without much of a plan. Completely burnt out from a failed business venture, Mum Elly and Dad Colin were excited by the possibility of more adventure and less stuff. They adopted a simpler online business model and haven't looked back since. In January 2019, 3 became 4 when they returned to New Zealand to welcome baby Romy to the family. At the time, they'd spent close to 2 years in Southeast Asia, and after 4 months back in New Zealand for her birth and to clear out their storage unit, the family continued on their adventure as an unschooling, slow-travelling family. After another year back in Asia, they transitioned to the European leg of their journey in March 2020 and are excited for all of the adventures that await them. Let's meet Elly now.
So my name's Elly, and along with my partner Colin and our 2 little girls, Ayla and Romy, they're 6 and 1, we slow travel full time. We're originally from New Zealand and we left 3 years ago. Actually, last Sunday was our 3-year anniversary. So we left 3 years ago on a one-way ticket without much of a plan. And yeah, we've been slow traveling around Southeast Asia ever since then. And we're about to undergo a big change, and we're moving on to the European leg of our journey next week.
And where are you at the moment?
We are currently on an island called Bohol, which is in the Philippines. We landed in Cebu a couple of months ago, stayed there for about 10 days, and we realized the city was too chaotic and full on for us, and it just didn't quite feel right for us. So originally we weren't sure about going to an island, I guess, and well, I mean, the Philippines is all islands, but I mean, outside of a main city, we tend to stick to cities because of our digital nomad needs. But we found this co-working space on Bohol, so they promised us a certain download speed, and we thought, we'll give that a go. So we've been here about 7 weeks, and ready to move on to Europe next week.
So Elly, how would you define world schooling?
World schooling means different things for everyone. Everyone's on their total own journey. So I'm aware that there's people who don't necessarily do a lot of travel, but may consider themselves still world schoolers because they're interested in the world, and they may, I guess, include some form of world learning or learning about other cultures from, right where they are at home. And some people have their full-time jobs or their home base, and then they travel when they can. For us, I mean, like I said, we slow travel full-time. So that is our sort of picture of world schooling. And we really just see it as an amazing opportunity to learn from the world. And Colin and I consider ourselves as life learners, and we have for a long time. We've been into personal development for a long time, and we just believe that travel just offers sort of the best of that. It sort of fits with our unschooling philosophy as well. Our older daughter, she's just off, and she literally does her own thing, and she learns, I don't know, different things in every country and every place that we go. So even when you're at home and you're not traveling the world, there's opportunities to learn everywhere. So world schooling, I guess, just takes that up a notch with all the new sort of enriched experiences that you're constantly exposed to, all the challenges that it provides you with, all the learning opportunities.
And when did you start world schooling?
We left New Zealand 3 years ago on a one-way ticket, so I guess you could say that was the start of our world schooling journey.
And why did you start world schooling?
a failed business, family business, it did give us the opportunity to then open our minds and go, hang on, okay, we don't have loads of money. We've just taken this huge financial hit because our business has majorly failed. We don't regret any of it. We don't consider it a mistake that the business failed. We had to sell our house and our cars and get rid of most of our things, and we did have to later sell our rental as well. So it put us in a position that to the outside world might have seemed like, well, you're not in a good financial position. This is not a good time to consider travel again. But yet for us, in the way that we think, we were like, this is the perfect opportunity to travel and to do things differently and think of things in a different way. So yeah, I mean, we'd both loved travel, like I said, in our younger days, and it was like, you know what, this is the opportunity again, and there's different ways of doing things. And I can say that our slow travel lifestyle at the moment costs us less than living in a developed, expensive country like New Zealand.
So how does your family world school?
So we slow travel in general, which is usually about sort of 3 to 6 months in a place. In general, like, with this lifestyle, it's great because you have the flexibility to move on if something's not working for you.
And after you made the decision, how did you prepare to start world schooling?
We packed up as much as we could mentally and physically do at the time, which meant that, we got rid of some big things like couches and chairs and things like that. But a lot of stuff we packed into boxes, and we had a storage unit, which we kept for 2 years until we went back home to have our second baby and got rid of it all.
Did you have any fears or questions about world schooling before you got started?
I don't remember any specific fears. I mean, we just saw it as an adventure. We were very open-minded. We'd only read a couple of, followed a couple of families or blogs. So we had a couple of places in mind that we were going to try. And we arrived to stay with my sister for a week or two in Singapore, I think. And then we were going to try Malaysia as our first destination.
So how did friends and family react when you started world schooling?
My family are just amazingly supportive, though they're very open-minded. And I know that that's not the case for all world schooling families. My family are maybe like inquisitive. Sometimes they ask questions, but like they've never tried to stop me doing anything. They probably know that. They've always let me do my own thing, which has been amazing. And my mum enjoys travel a lot. So she just sees it as an opportunity to, we'll come over and visit or whatever. And like, honestly, like New Zealand is quite hard to get around sometimes. Like, it's quite a long country. So my family is sort of up at one end, and we were living down south anyway. So to put in perspective, like, it's cheaper and probably not faster, but it's cheaper to fly across to like main centres in Australia than it is to fly from my hometown, because it's one of those littler sort of places without any cheap flights. And so, it wasn't like, you're moving away from us or anything like that. Very lucky on that side of things with my immediate family. And people, I guess, who have an interest in traveling were interested to know. Other people, maybe they're not, because that's not on their radar at all, or they just kind of don't get it, that, well, you're leaving and you don't know when you're coming back or what you're going to do or anything like that. And it's like, that doesn't register with me, so no further conversation needed. I mean, and on the other side of the family, there were a few, I don't know, that there's some different ways of thinking, put it that way, to how Colin and I function. And we're moving closer to Europe now, and we are moving to Europe, and with that we plan to get to know the other side of the family.
So what were your initial plans for educating the children?
When Ayla was just probably before she was born, I guess some of the friends that we had children that were maybe 2 or 3 at the time. And I guess the people that we connected with really, really closely and really well, we noticed their children were being homeschooled or unschooled. and we spent some more time with these families, and we went away on some like weekends, some weekends away together. And we thought we want to be the people that spend the most time with our children and have the biggest influence on them. We just want to, those sort of primary school years, I just couldn't imagine, like a teacher spending more time with the children than we would be. So back then, I guess, like, I'm a little bit of like a very organized person, and so is Colin, and to some degree, maybe back then I did want to think about ticking the boxes or making sure that she's going to learn everything that she needs to learn. But then I saw how amazing these like unschool families were, and I was like, stay open-minded. And then I was like, she's young. We sort of adopted that Rudolf Steiner philosophy where the first 7 years is about play, and like play was always a focus. But I was like, when she's a bit older, we'll get a curriculum, we can get online curriculums, whatever. And then, so there's always kind of going a little bit unschooling, but a little bit scared. Like, if you talk about fears, that's probably, am I giving her the best opportunities and possibilities for learning? But yeah, it just evolved more. And then when Romy came along a year ago, I literally have been like so tied up with this baby, and I've been like, Ayla, you got to find something to do for 2 hours. If you want us to go out today, go and entertain yourself for 2 hours. And I feel really bad, but then I've like also noticed how self-directed she has become, and we've had the most like major sort of tantrums and behavior spikes during the year as well, but at the same time some amazing opportunities for growth. And she really does just get on, and she chooses what she wants to do when she wants to do it. And so I guess over the course of this past year, and then doing things like going to a Worldschooling Summit, and then meeting these like unschoolers who are 20, who are just the most amazing, well-rounded people, I'm like, it's going to be okay.
And tell me, what does a normal Worldschooling day look like for you guys?
We slow travel, and we allow ourselves a lot of time to chill if we need to. We love adventuring, going to new places, but a lot of this is like based on my own like energy levels, and having like a 1-year-old baby who still feeds all through the night, and then he's teething and I'm carrying around all day. And I guess with our lifestyle though, we have complete flexibility to be able to wake up and decide, it's like, well, guess what? I got 2 hours of sleep last night. We're hanging around here. Or I got 2 hours of sleep, so we're going to get out of the house because I can't stand being around, the house. So we don't plan a lot day to day.
So when you're traveling, how do you create community?
Our daughter, Ayla, is very, very confident. She will go up to anyone in a playground and she's best friends instantly. She and I know we started when she just turned 3, and she's naturally a social person, and so she literally finds friends anywhere she goes. Like, it's amazing. And Colin and I are both friendly social people when we want to be. At the same time, we like our own company as well, but in terms of meeting people and that, we're not we've met, I remember we met this amazing family who we've kept in touch with just because they walked into a cafe and they had a baby that was like the same age as our baby, and a girl who was the same age as Ayla, and we're like, hey, you want to come and sit down? And they're like, okay, sure. And they came and sat down, and we were friends. So it's just kind of, I don't know, taking those chances. Sometimes you met with people who are, who give you the straight face, or the like pretend they didn't hear you or something like that. But that's okay. Maybe they're shy, or maybe they're just not everyone's that open, I guess. So there's opportunities to meet everyone everywhere. There are some places that it's a lot easier than others. And so we're quite conscious about the need for community.
And what's it like being together 24/7?
We consciously did this because we want to spend as much time together as a family as possible, even though we drive each other crazy sometimes. Well, not me and Colin, but more like kids drive us crazy. And sometimes it's like, whoa. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of see it though, the challenging bits of like being together all the time. I see it as learning and growing together. And you know, it's me and Colin's own personal development. Like, we've done years of personal development, but nothing prepares you for being a parent and the all the stuff that you don't know that goes with that. I said to him the other day that I feel like I've done zero personal development for the last 6 years, like being a parent. But you know, you are learning and you are growing together, and I feel like being together for these, especially the younger years, that we're going through the hard yards to learn to evolve together and to be together and to enjoy being together and to learn to meet each other's needs. You know, like I see so many comments on Facebook and things when the holidays come around, and it's like, oh, school holidays, like what do I do with the kids? Oh, the kids are driving me mad. And it's like, because they're not used to being together all the time, whereas like we're doing that time now, learning how to be together all the time. And well, not all the time, because it's maybe not completely healthy either. But yeah, I don't know, we have this, like, we hope that it's really going to pay off for the long term, put it that way, that we're going to have the strong relationship in the future.
And what would you say are the biggest challenges of world schooling?
We're raising a very strong, very assertive girl who knows what she wants, and, you know, trying to find that balance between like having boundaries but allowing her to be free and to grow and to not squash her spirit, and to be like appropriate, whatever that means, you know. But so yeah, that's the very challenging, at the same time kind of like exciting learning part. Probably just as, if not more challenging, as though, like, how do Colin and I get our time together with very young children? And that's something that is always, I mean, Romy's only 1, you know, and they are, the cliche is true that they are only small for a short amount of time. And, you know, we get a babysitter from time to time in various places when it's appropriate to do so. And she may not really want to go off with the babysitter at the moment. So it's kind of like we just get what we can at the moment, but we know that it's not going to be that way forever.
Now, Elly, can I ask you, what does it cost your family to world school?
Yeah, we kind of predicted what it would cost, and we've been pretty much spot on. I think I mentioned earlier that we would like to increase our budget in the future. We have about a $500 US budget per month for accommodation. And the thing is that some places we've found really great quality accommodation for that price, and other places we've been very below the living standard that we want to be in. And it's not always the place that you'd expect. For example, like, we think that Malaysia is one of the most affordable sort of standards of living that we've found in Southeast Asia. And I've heard a lot of other people say, oh, Malaysia's expensive. And I'm like, well, in terms of the accommodation, though, the standard and the price that we've paid, I feel like it's much higher. And then you've got all your options to have very local, very cheap food. It's just that you have the very Western options too, which is why we love, because you can find that right balance for you. But we think if you're going to opt to sort of eat local food and things like that a lot of the time, that you can live really well and really affordably there. It's just that those sort of like bright glitzy malls are there in front of you. So if you're going to be tempted by them and want to go on and buy all your clothes in a Western shop, then sure, you're going to spend more. So we predicted that our lifestyle would cost us about 40,000 New Zealand dollars, which I think is about 25 US thousand per year. And that's pretty spot on to what we spend. Now we do spend a bit on like business tools, and I don't know, maybe that's like 500 a month or something like that. And we have barely bought anything like clothes or anything. All we've done is like, get less stuff over over the course of our 3 years. You know, we left with 3 check bags. We now have 2, and we've just been wearing our stuff out. I mean, I'm like, I've never even been a clothes sort of person, but but then once you actually leave and go traveling, it's like, well, I might have had like 10 t-shirts in total to start with, and now I have like 3 or 4. You know, it's like that's actually all I need, and the other ones have been worn out and they've just been thrown out along the way. So and then we're going to France soon, and I was like, oh, we're going to freeze our butts off. So I went to the market the other day and got some brand new looking secondhand clothes for literally like 50 cents. I was blown away. I was like, well, this is better than being like majorly jet lagged and going to a Parasol shop where I might spend $20 per item rather than 50 cents or $1 for items that have, yeah. So anyway, like I said, we'd like to increase our budget in the future, but it would be for more like experiences and probably a higher standard of accommodation in some places. Everyone has different, I guess, needs within their family. And we've learned that, yeah, I have a lower tolerance for poor quality food. I'm okay for like a day or whatever, but it cannot be an ongoing thing. And Colin has a much, much lower tolerance for low quality accommodation. So he needs hot water and he needs a proper shower that's not a dribble, whereas I'm like, oh no, I've got my healthy organic food, and oh, I found this organic health shop and I just spent like $200 and don't tell Colin, but I don't mind if I have a dribble out of the shower, you know. So it's I'd say about 25,000 US per year at the moment, and that includes our business expenses. So maybe it could be like 20,000 if we didn't have online businesses. You know, some people are funding it another way, but we want to continue to invest in our businesses. I guess the good thing about online businesses is that the tools and things that you need, even like the really great ones, are comparatively much lower price than if you've got a bricks and mortar business.
And how do you fund your travels?
We've been working that out over the past 3 years. Like I said, we sort of left on a one-way ticket and we were starting from scratch again. We had this failed family business, which told us one thing, and that was that we wanted to do online work. Okay, so the business was an online model, but it involved, it was an organic fruit and veggie delivery business. There were so many layers in it, like dealing with fresh produce was like, so even though it was completely online, it was very complex. So it told us, yep, we do like the online model and we want to continue with that. We just didn't know exactly what we were going to do. Now we're in the position where we were kind of forced to sell our house. Okay, so we got a little bit of, not a huge amount, but we got some money from that as a buffer to let us kind of recover and to start again and to figure out how we're going to make money online. We know that we want to make money online. We know that we want it to be a lot simpler than an organic fruit and veggie delivery business. But yeah, we're lucky to have, I guess you could say lucky that we decided, we had that money from the house. And then we did need to sell our rental as well. So we had that buffer, I guess what you could call savings. It was like having a savings to work from. And yes, I guess I've been in health and fitness for the last 20 years, and I knew that I wanted to keep doing that, and it was just figuring out how to take that more online. You know, I've done pretty much every role in the health and fitness industry, and fitness management and personal training, group fitness instruction, course tutoring, presenting, all of that, and all things that require me to be in a place and trade time for money and spend a lot of time planning and preparing and following up and supporting people. And so it was like, okay, I'm going to evolve into an online coach from being a personal trainer. And yeah, I mean, that's been a lot harder to sell than I could have envisioned, because I found it very easy, the face-to-face. So we have a lot of, I guess, backup things and things that we've been working out. I knew that I loved writing, and for me, like I could just write and that would be my most enjoyable possible thing to do, and allows me to be a little bit introverted and to actually do it on a tropical island too, because you don't need a lot of like really good internet connection or anything. So we've worked on my personal website platform, and so I have a blog, and it is now monetized, and we see that as a long term, because we've had to undergo all the learning along the way to get it to a point where it's able to make money, I guess, as well. So in the meantime, I put myself out there as a freelance writer, and I'm not a trained writer, but I have earned the money that we've needed for day-to-day expenses. Not all the time, especially not in the past year, because I've been focused on the baby thing. But I guess my credibility in the industry has allowed me to be a freelance writer, and I only write about health and fitness. So even though, you don't have to be a trained writer, it's like I have the credibility, and you got tools like Grammarly that can help you if writing's not your main strength anyway. And Colin, he's started all his skills from scratch. I mean, he's got an IT background. He's very systems minded. So when we had that failed business, he actually automated the business completely. Sales is not our strong point, and we couldn't get the sales that we needed. But systems are his strength. And he decided to specialize in SEO. So we decided that Google and making friends with Google was going to be our main strategy. Social media is very, very secondary for us. It's not, it's definitely not our main thing. So he's sort of how he would say it is that he's done his apprenticeship now, actually only just at the now point of finishing his apprenticeship. And not saying that he's not going to continue learning, because you have to continue learning to stay up with the play on all of this. And he's refined his SEO services only recently. So now, because SEO is a big thing as well. So now he has like 3 very specific services that he offers, and that's based on what he's learned. And he's experimented on my health and fitness site a lot. So we got, we showed that we could get paid posts to page 1 of Google. And that was, we sort of focused on that before thinking about, well, how do we monetize our site? Because then I had like this post on page 1 of Google that I still don't know how to monetize at all. So, we didn't necessarily think about that strategically from the start. It was more like, how do we learn SEO, and how do we learn to get more traffic and people visiting these posts? So it's ever evolving, and Colin is gradually niching down more, and I'm getting clearer about what posts I want on my website and which ones don't fit. And ongoing, but mainly on our sites, the long-term strategy is through affiliate marketing, so selling other people's products and services, because that's a whole lot easier and faster to do than creating our own. And we have created so many things in the past that people don't necessarily want to buy, and you think you've done your homework and your research, and then it's so it's much easier to experiment with other people's things, and we only choose things that we use ourselves or we fully believe in. We're very open and transparent with all of that, and I would only recommend fitness things that I've used myself or that I know my clients will get a lot of value from.
And where can we find you online?
parentingpassportsandprofits.com. That's the best place to start, because that is our family site, which has just been recently overhauled and updated. So you should be able to, tell what we're about just by looking at the homepage, hopefully. And that will link out to Colin's site and to my site. So my site is ellymcguinness.com, and that's all about holistic health and fitness. So I can help world schoolers with staying fit and healthy on the road. And Colin's site is I think it's onlinemarketingdoneforyou.com. So that's his very specific SEO services, which are site speed fixes, website audits, and upgrading old content. So those are his sort of really key services that he offers now. So if you go to parentingpassportsandprofits.com, you should be able to find the links to work with Elly, work with Colin,
And finally, Elly, what would you say to someone who's thinking about getting started?
Reach out, ask any questions that you've got. Maybe don't overthink it, like give it a go. I guess the longer that you do it for, the less you'll probably feel like you have to plan, and you'll realize that there's not so much to worry about as what you think there is. Just be open-minded about what can happen, because if you can have that sort of flexibility and open-mindedness, then that's where the magic's going to happen. You're going to have like amazing things happen that you didn't expect either.
To find out more about Elly and her family, click on the links below this video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe to stay up to date with future interviews as we release them. To find out more about Worldschooling, visit our website at worldschoolingcentral.com.